Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. I am Atanu and today I am joined by Rishab, who is an avid Manchester United fan. Welcome back, Rishab, on the channel.
Hi.
So, Rishab, today we'll be discussing about Manchester United under 18s and their performance in the under 18 Premier League. So, starting with the performance this season, Neil Ryan's side got second position in the under 18 Premier League and achieved 60 points, just 1 point behind the champions of North under 18 Premier League, Manchester City. Till the last day, the title race wasn't over, and City played Fulham in the last game, and I thought, okay, maybe we can win the Premier League, under 18 Premier League, but sadly they won 3-1 and we lost out by a point. We scored 79 goals this season in the under 18 Premier League, which is the most number of goals scored by any team. And people talk about Charlie McNeill and Dillon Hoogewerf, but they weren't the only people who scored goals. We can see Charlie McNeill scored 24 goals and Dillon Hoogewerf scored 12 goals. But total number of goals still scored by Manchester United was 79 goals. So talking about that, Rishabh, what do you think about United's firepower in terms of academy football?
Yeah, our academy has always been top tier, and talents like Charlie McNeill and Dillon Hoogewerf are obviously key part of what the spirit of United is. That is bringing in academy players into the first team. So I remember Hoogewerf last season was when he joined from Ajax on a free transfer, and he's been unlucky with injury, and he only returned halfway through the season, I think, and to get 12 goals was very impressive. And Charlie McNeill had a stellar record at City after he left United. He had an amazing record, and he's obviously continued that. And I expect him to be moving to under 23s football next season.
Yeah, definitely. I also think Charlie McNeill and Dillon Hoogewerf will make the transition from under 18s to under 23s. For the viewers, I'll tell that Charlie McNeill left United in July 2014 and rejoined from City in October 2020 and also scored 4 goals against his old team and kissed the Manchester United badge. And that was a sight to behold. Dillon Hoogewerf, like Rishabh said, joined United from Ajax in August 2019, and so this was his second season. And I think he too is ready to make the transition into the under 23s team. So moving on, like we will talk about City. City's won 19 games, one loss, and four draws. Comparing that to our record, we won 20 games, a game more than them, four losses and zero draws. Those four losses came against Manchester City 2-1, Burnley 1-0, Derby 3-1 loss, and against Newcastle 3-2 loss. I'll tell you, the Newcastle game towards the end, Manchester United made a comeback. Like they were 2-0 down, and then they made a 2-2. They managed to make it 2-2, but in the 89th second, Newcastle scored. So there have been defensive lack of defensive measures in the United team. uh, they have conceded 27 goals, which is the fourth least in the league, but still are defenders who are already young. And I'm not, going to judge them that they lost 4 games and it is on them. But still, there are things that need to be improved. Like we saw, Harvey Neville was a player who made his transition from under 18s to under 23s, but has now left the club. So, talking about that, Rishabh, what do you think about the defensive performance of this team?
I think where it went wrong with the under 23s, under 18s, was that a lot of players were being transitioned to the under 23 because we lost, the under 23s lost Garner, we lost Levitt, we lost Mengi halfway through the season, we lost Laird, and all these players, and some of the other reserve players who never, didn't have a chance to make it to the first team, but were regulars in the under 23s. They left. So to fill those gaps, we sent players like Will Fish, who are defenders. I'm talking about the defenders, Will Fish and Alvaro Fernandez, to the under 23s, which obviously had an impact on the under 18s. So I think we cannot blame them for losing the title because, again, City under 23s won the Premier League too. and so they didn't really need any players transitioning from the under 18s. Their under 18s had a stable squad throughout, and our under 18s, whereas stability is important, especially when these are youngsters, and you can't expect them to carry teams on their own. They need they have an environment that they're used to. So when you lose defenders and the other players are coming in, it obviously disrupts the team. So I think that's the only reason we missed out on the title. But it's not about winning the titles. It's just about developing the players. That's the foremost objective. So I think in that, if you look in terms of that, we're doing very well.
Yeah, definitely. I think, when someone like me who's just started watching Academy, I think, okay, we could have won the league. But you made a valid point there that it's not about only winning the title, it's about developing players because it's the Academy at the end of the day. And, we developed so many great players. We have developed so many great players, class of 92, as everybody knows, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Dean
Pogba.
Henderson, so many players that we have developed over the years. And I think from the current lot, I like obviously everybody is talented, and they are younger than me and playing in Manchester, and I am just sitting here talking about them. But still, my favorite player this season has been Dillon Hoogewerf. Charlie McNeill has been great because, but the performances of Charlie McNeill. When people talk about him, they often forget about Dillon Hoogewerf. Dillon Hoogewerf scored 12 goals, 11 and had 11 assists, and just played 19, and just played in 19 games. So having a contribution of 30 goals in just 19 appearances is just fantastic. Whereas Charlie McNeill also has 30 goal contributions in 21 appearances, but still, my favorite player this season was Dillon Hoogewerf. What about you, Rishabh?
I think my favorite player was Charlie McNeill. Obviously, the City game where he kissed the United badge, that helped a lot towards that cause. But then I think the reason I incline more towards Charlie McNeill is that I think he's more of a poacher kind of forward. Whereas I think Hoogewerf is a more uh, he can offer more than just scoring goals, and he's not the kind of player that will just be in the box looking to score goals. But I think McNeil has that natural poacher's instinct from what I have seen, and obviously his goal scoring records prove that. So and United towards the time where Charlie McNeil was doing really well. At that time, our team was lacking a striker because Cavani was, I think, not really. He wasn't in this form, right? That he ended the season with. He wasn't doing that well, and Martial was obviously having a terrible time. So, looking at a budding striker in the academy, I think maybe that's a reason that Charlie McNeil is very liked by United fans.
Yeah, definitely. I think towards the end, I saw Anthony Elanga, Shola Shoretire, Will Fish make into the team, but at the same time, I thought maybe Joe Hugill and Charlie McNeil might get the nod as well, but maybe it was too early for them. So talking about Joe Hugill, obviously many people know here that he played solely for under 23s, but he was transferred to Manchester United in September 2020 and from Sunderland. And he played for the under 18s because he's just 17 years old, and 5 games, 6 goals and 1 assist, not bad for a newcomer. And the impact Joe Hugill has had on under 23s and initially for under 18s has been immense. And if Joe Hugill was in the under 18s, then this partnership of Charlie McNeil and Joe Hugill could have destroyed teams. Like the last game that we saw for under 18s, they won 8-1 against Middlesbrough, and Dillon Hoogewerf and Charlie McNeil both scored hat tricks, and that was the perfect game that I could have ever watched, and that was my favorite game. So Rishabh, what do you think about Joe Hugill? What was your favorite game of the season for under 18s?
Joe Hugill was amazing. When he started in the under 18s, he did really well. Which is why he got moved to the under 23s. And in the under 23s, he had eye-catching performances. One reason I think that he was promoted rather than Charlie McNeil, even though they're the same age, is that I think he offers a bit more physically and he's a bit more ready to
Definitely.
make a
Yeah, his
higher age
build
group.
is immense. He's a bit bulkier than Charlie McNeill, and uh, a few days back they were in this training camp for academy players for England, and I could see Charlie McNeill doing some weights in the gym, and I thought, yeah, this guy is going to be more bulkier, and maybe one day Adama Traore. What do you think?
Well, I'll compare this to an example that we have already seen in recent times. That is Marcus Rashford, and when he first came into the team, for even in Mourinho's first season, which was the season after his breakthrough, he was very skinny. And now when you look at him, he isn't the most built player, but he won't be pushed off the ball, and he won't be an easy player to outmuscle. I think because no matter how much you work, when you're young, your muscles won't develop as they're supposed to. But with age, it'll come. So I think that's the same thing that will happen with the academy players. It's not something that we need to worry about per se.
Yeah, definitely. And next season, Charlie McNeill has been promoted to under 23s, I think. Joe Hugill as well. So, do you see either of them going out on loan, or do you think they'll play for the under 23s?
No, I don't think they will go out on loan because I think they'll have another season, and possibly if they are able to break through to the first team, then they again stay. And maybe if things are tough or in terms of getting in the first team, but they surpass the level of academy football, then I think United will be looking to loan them out.
Yeah, definitely. So, lastly, we'll discuss about two players. Charlie Savage, first of all. There are so many Charlies in this squad: Charlie Savage, Charlie Wellens, Charlie McNeil. But let's talk about Charlie Savage, a central defensive midfielder. And he gives me those James Garner vibes. Whenever I see James Garner playing for United Academy, old videos, then I see the same level of intent as Charlie Savage has. So just putting out some numbers for a CDM, he's played 23 games, scored 3 goals, and has 7 assists. That's not bad for a CDM, I think. And people might say I'm stack padding here, but these are just the numbers. But on the pitch, his brilliance is all obviously visible to every fan and his teammate as well. And just a fact, Charlie Savage is the son of Robbie Savage, who was also at Manchester United as an academy player, and he won the 1992 FA Youth Cup as a striker. But over a period of time, he developed into a midfielder and played for the likes of Leicester City and Derby County. So, Rishabh, what do you think about Charlie Savage?
Yeah, I was going to make that point that he is Robbie Savage's son, and Robbie Savage was a very passionate player, and he takes after his dad in that way. And I think that what has always differentiated United from other clubs is the passion that the players have, because that was what Sir Alex primarily instilled into his players. Sir Alex wasn't the most tactically adept manager. He wasn't always just into the tactics, but he wanted to make sure that his players were winners and that they gave everything for the badge. So I think if you have a player in the academy who's already, following that same footprint, I think that's really positive, because at the end of the day, I want to see a United where everyone gives 100% for the badge, whether they're the best player in the world or the worst player in the world.
Yeah, definitely. And let's talk about Alejandro Garnacho or Garnacho, whatever his pronunciation is. A left winger signed by Manchester United in October 2020 from Atletico Madrid. 17 appearances, 7 goals, 4 assists, and a hat trick against Stoke City under 18s in April. This player like Garnacho often reminds me of, let's just say, a Mason Greenwood, maybe, because he can play as a striker as well. He has those striking abilities, but I think his preferred position is the left wing. And he hasn't played many games because of the emergence of Charlie McNeill, Joe Hugill, and Dillon Hoogewerf. But this is a guy who is going to be playing for under 18s next season, and maybe he can have a breakthrough season and make that transition from under 18s to under 23s after next season.
Yeah, definitely. Because Garnacho, I think more than a Greenwood type, he's more of a cam or a left winger, I'd say. I think he is very technically good. And obviously, the fact that United have brought in multiple Spaniards just this past summer for the academy, I think that would have helped him settle down. And he's done well. He caught my eye from the first time I saw him playing. He was always very good and always. I think he had an injury spell in between as well, but he did very well when he played, and he obviously put up good numbers. Maybe under 23s is too soon for him, but I'm sure he'll get there soon.
Yeah, I think obviously he'll play for under 18s next season. And I like that thought that I like the point that you made that Manchester United brought many, Spaniards from Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Barcelona. I think one of them is Alvaro Fernandez, Marco Ardo, and Alejandro Garnacho. That's right. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these three players were brought in by Manchester United for the academy. So Rishabh, one player that you are looking forward to next season might be from someone from under 23s or under 18s.
If it's from the academy overall, I'm definitely looking forward for Hannibal Mejbri, because I think when he came on against Wolves, he looked very, very confident. And I think that kind of confidence is very, very important when you're just getting through into the first team. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how his season goes.
And someone from the under 18s?
From the under 18s, yeah, Charlie McNeill would be my pick.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I think for overall academy, I also would root for Hannibal Mejbri. Maybe he can play for the first team more often if there are injuries or someone from the first team might leave this season, and we know that our board obviously won't sign so many players. So yeah, maybe Hannibal Mejbri might be ready for the first team. So thank you, Rishabh, for coming on the United Star. See you later.
Thank you for having me.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching our video. If you do like it, please click on the thumbs up and please subscribe to our channel. Click on the bell icon to get daily notifications from the United Star. Follow us on Instagram at the.unitedstar and we will see you soon.